Hello, welcome back to Slightly Twisted Female. I'm your host, Brittany Rue. Oh god, I really hope my dog doesn't bark the whole time. Let me close my door. I'm sorry. And let me know how you guys are hearing me. If my audio should be alright. Hold on. Alright. So, I just nailed the shit out of my knee. Alright, so, sorry, I'm like a little discombobulated right now. I like that blue. Okay. Alright, so I just wanted to talk about something. God fucking damn it, sorry. Hold on. That's what's going on. I will try to edit this part out later. Anyway, alright. Sorry. So I wanted to talk a little bit about female sexuality and female pleasure. And so I've been getting just a little bit like just this whole black pill rhetoric that seems to permeate certain areas of radical feminism. I need like a break from it, and so I wanted to talk about something else. I think that we can deal with things, these bigger, larger scale things, these sort of class issue sort of things like sex trafficking or gender ideology and the erasure of women and other things that impact us as a sex class. And I think it's important that we deal with those things, but I think that there is a tendency for two things to happen when we spend a lot of time almost saturating our awareness with these stories. We can become radicalized. I think it's, we know that internet radicalization is real. Internet radicalization is very much the reason why Shamima Begum, a high schooler in Britain, decided to take a flight to Syria at the height of the Islamic State, just basically death cult takeover. And that why a young woman, who I think she was 15 at the time, thought it was a good idea to get on a flight, skip school, and basically sell her soul and sell her life over to being an ISIS bride, and joining an extremist Muslim death cult. Right? Because I think that one thing about the internet, it sort of plays upon it's crazy because even though we're more interconnected than we've ever been in the past, we're also more isolated than just about any other time in human history. And it creates this sense of almost just like a deep loneliness and in a deep sense of isolation when you have an awareness and you can see people from all over the planet, what they did that day, what they're thinking about, all at the tip of your fingers, on your smartphones, on your computers. And then just to know that you're still alone and that you're, starting to self-isolate and you're starting to interact almost exclusively on the internet. You're learning more about the world from the lens of the internet than actually engaging in the world. And I think that this we're like in the middle of some huge human experiment that we've never seen before. And I don't think that, we could possibly fully grasp just how big the advent of something like the World Wide Web actually is. In my lifetime, I grew up with like the dial-up modem, and it was like the very beginning of the internet, and it was, we had really just started having home computers. I remember when the cell phones really started finally becoming a thing, and it was like flip phones. And hold on for 1 second. Hey, all right, sorry about that. And just how much this has changed in our lifetime, and it's changed how we relate to other people. It's changed how we relate to ourselves. And one thing that I've seen with this explosion of social media and using social media as an apparatus to connect. I mean, I can't imagine being in high school and actually having to have Instagram or social media. I can't imagine what that's got to do to young people. Because when I left school every day, I was done. I could just go home and relax, and whatever issues were going on at school, whatever sort of like interpersonal squabbles were happening, whatever embarrassing thing that I did, it was like I could turn it off for a little while, go home and be disconnected from that world for a few hours until the next morning when I went back to school. And for kids today to have just a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day out of the year connection, constant connection and awareness of what other people are thinking, what they're doing, what they're posting, and now we're living through an avatar. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, listening can think of how many friends do you have that in real life that you almost don't relate to or even recognize their persona or who they are when they're on social media. I actually don't like really following my friends that I'm really like close to in real life, because it's like, it feels like such a departure of who they actually are. And it's like, I'd rather just hang out with you in real life, whatever. It's like a weird thing to reconcile. So I just try to like stay away from, I'd rather just see you in real life rather than follow you on social media. Sarah Jean says it's scary. I feel very sad and scared for the children. Yeah, and just for the record, I don't have like a huge agenda for tonight. I'm gonna get back to structured videos and stuff like that. I just so many things I've been thinking about, and I just want to talk to you guys a little bit. Hey, Vulturous. But Jamie Kate Kea says, I won't be able to watch live, but I love your work and how your emphasis is consistently on the bigger picture of women and our wants, needs, and desires. Thank you. Now that means a lot to me, because I don't, there's nothing that I get out of this. I don't have any like delusions that like, oh, one day I'm going to be this like big, important, figure in history, and people are going to look back and remember like stuff that I, did on my YouTube channel. I make like a couple dollars off of this, and it's amazing, and actually it's really helpful when I get financial support through this channel. It's great. Like, it helps me keep gas in my car, all that sort of stuff. And so I'm really grateful, but I'm not like making obviously like any significant amount of money off of this. So my only intention is to offer the perspective that I've developed over, 34 years, and I've been through a lot of things, and I've survived a lot of things, and I've lived in different places, and I've and it's like whatever I can offer and whatever I can give. And I just wanted to leave some sort of a record of things. And like I said, one of my big motivators for wanting to make this was because this time last year, like I said, I was in full-on cancer treatment this time last year. No, this exact week last year, I was doing my last bag of chemotherapy. The last week of July was my last bag of chemotherapy. And this, I don't know if you guys ever see this. I've had people like actually reach out to me from the channel and be like, hey, I don't know if you noticed you have a cyst on your chest. And it's my chemotherapy port. And so I had this like long tube, and I had this little like pouch, and I had to like wear a strap in a little tiny bag and put this pouch of, it was like a poison pouch, and it was my chemotherapy bag. And it was crazy because like it had all these like warning signs and like skulls on it, and be like, caution, extremely dangerous. Because I mean, chemotherapy, again, it's a poison. And Vulture says you have a voice and you're using it. Yeah, I mean, I just, so, there's so much fake, I feel like, interactions that happen online, and that's to be expected. But I think it can be like create a lot of anxiety and loneliness and disconnection when you're just constantly seeing like just a lot of like fake, superficial, disconnected, disjointed interactions when you're watching them happen and when you're having them, and then you're not even seeing them in real life. At least before, you were actually seeing humans. Now we're just looking at images on a screen, and it's, I don't know, it can be sad and messed up and whatever. But one thing I've noticed, the reason why I wanted this stream to be about like pleasure and female sexuality, one thing that I have noticed when I started getting into the gender critical stuff, I was not expecting to like run into radical feminism. Like I was like, it'll be like gender critical, and then it was like radical feminism was like, yeah, hey, I'm like right behind you on this. Like, it's like there's no way to not run into it. And all of a sudden I was like, oh wow, there's this whole other thing that's, it was hard to not get involved in it. And I think it's been so important for tearing things down. And I think breaking things down and letting go is a really important part of life and energy cycles. And if you even if you look at like the seasonal cycles, winter it's a death, and spring is a rebirth, and summer is like the beautiful life and living, and then autumn is like, aging into a quiet, beautiful death again. That's like the twilight of your life is autumn, and there's all these life death cycles, and this building up and tearing down. And I think that one thing that radical feminism does really well is tear down. I think it's good to just tear things down, because we don't, then we can make space for something new. We can, not be so clenched on to just one way of thinking and one way of relating to ourselves and one way of relating to each other, and it forces us to just take a new position and take a new perspective, and we look at all these things that we do and that we've always accepted as just true, and that we've participated in just totally unconsciously and with just like a total lack of awareness. And one thing that's been brought up a lot is consciousness raising. Just being more aware of what we're doing and why, and what is the root of things, and so I think that radical feminism does that really, really well. Abundance says, I love your channel. I admire your ability to manage children, cancer treatment, get politically involved, and push. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I think it was like a lot of it was the fear of, I really thought I was going to die this time last year. And I like joke about it now, but there was like a really real moment. Well, first of all, they misdiagnosed me. So originally they told me I was like a much later stage of cancer. So it was like, wow, like I'm gonna have to like write a will, I guess. Like who's gonna take the kids? Like that's really, I was like, wow, I literally felt like I had just been given like a death diagnosis. It was not only do you have cancer, but you have severe cancer and a rare form of severe cancer. And I was just like, it was like my whole world stopped. Everything that was important before and everything that I was planning to do and that I had seen for my life up until that point was just basically saying like, nope. And I just remember that, one of the first things that I really felt after I could think of anything other than like losing my kids and my life was just, damn it, like I wasted so much time. I kept saying I was like gonna do things and I was like, I just wasted so much fucking time. I was like, I should have just gotten to things, done the things that I really wanted to do or done anything. And I don't think I'll ever, and not for a minute did I sit and regret anything that I did. And all I regretted was things that like I hadn't done. It's all I could think was I didn't, and I was like, I didn't leave something for my kids. I was like, I didn't leave something for them. They don't have like a record of my voice. They don't have like a record of my ideas or thoughts or things that I would want them to know and things that I had always like anticipated talking to them about when they were older and when they were adults and when we could have those sorts of conversations. And so when it turned out that my diagnosis was not as bad as they originally told me it was, and then that I was like so mad. I was like, wait, okay, so like it's not that bad? Like they're like, oh yeah, no, you're actually like stage 2. I was like, oh, so like, yeah, who was gonna let me know? Because I literally had to like go look and saw that you like guys quietly updated my paperwork. Like what the fuck? I think it was also because COVID, no one was really like communicating with me. My cancer care was awful. Let me just be so clear. It was awful. Vulture said I would make videos if I wasn't crap at it. You don't need to be good. I like all the little extra production stuff just because I'm, ow, fuck, I just burned the shit out of myself. I grew these in my, so I have like a huge sage plant that has just been like expanding every year. So I have so much sage. So we always make sage sticks. So it's like kind of like, see, it's kind of bootleg. We have all of our own homemade sage sticks. So we like sage the shit out of the house all the time. Sarah Jean says, I'm sure a diagnosis like that puts your life and time into a different perspective. I can't even. I think one of the weirdest things in the world is to like wake up the next day and have to like move forward in life knowing that this is real. And I went through a really like I really, really learned how much who's really here for me. That's when my best friend had moved in. She moved in actually. The reason why the woman who lives with me, my best friend, started living with me was because I got cancer and I needed help getting to surgeries. I was having surgery after surgery after surgery. I had like literally 4 or 5 surgeries in a row. I had to have my ovarian transpositioning surgery where they took the ovary. You can see like I have all of my like things here. They put my ovaries like right here. They put this in my chemo port, and the chemo port is like there's like a catheter that goes into your coronal artery. So it's gross and just creeps me out when I think about it. I had to get my tumor removed, my initial tumor, and that was like a complex, long surgery, and it was really painful to, oh my God, really painful to recover from. Oh my God, that was awful. I had to have like colonoscopies, chemotherapy, all kinds of stuff. And then radiation, which started off fine, but once you start feeling those radiation burns, oh my God, it's like, it's so surreal when I even think about having gone through all of this. But so my girlfriend moved in with me to help get me to surgeries and stuff, and like I didn't have an extra like room set up, so I was like, I have like a California king size bed. My bed is so comfortable, and I was like, I have like a California king, like it was, she just was, I don't know, it was just like she like brought her stuff and she just stayed with me for a couple of days, and like we just slept in the same bed, which like we would always do when she would sleep over. That was just like, duh. Is that weird? I don't know. So okay, here's another thing. Sorry for the tangent. All those pictures that I posted of me and her, right? I mean, we're just funny when we're together, and we're really comfortable with each other. I mean, I'll literally be like butt naked in front of her, and it's like it doesn't matter. I'm not like, oh God, oh sorry. She's like, oh no, oh, I didn't mean to walk in on you. Like there's like no boundaries like that. Like we just totally get dressed in front of each other. Like she'll take a bath, I'll come in and like do my makeup and whatever, and we'll like chit chat. I mean, we'll be like butt naked in front of each other, like changing and stuff like that. So anyway, when I posted those pictures, so I got accused by 2 different people of gay baiting, of like playing bisexual with her to like, I was like, what? And then I kind of like look back at the pictures like, well, I was like, I guess we were kind of being like a little like, a little fresh in the pictures, but I was like, well, we were being funny. Like, it's not gay. Yeah, they were calling me, saying I was gay baiting. I was like, the fuck are you talking about? And then like, oh God, sometimes I'll just like snap at people just to like let people know, like, don't fucking say stupid stuff to me. Abundance. She said, my mom passed from cancer. I remember listening to her in her sleep in her deathbed, begging an unknown person for what. Oh God, so sorry. God, I'm so sorry. Right after I was diagnosed with cancer, like 2 weeks later, our other best friend, Shannon, her mom got cancer, and what was so scary was her mom was diagnosed like a month after me, and then like died like 4 months later. And I was like, oh my God. And like it was like somebody who had gotten a cancer diagnosis after me while I was still fighting. I didn't know if I was gonna be okay, died from their cancer. It's so scary, guys, because the thing is with cancer, once it gets out of control, like there's like a point of no return. And I watched somebody die that I went to high school with. I mean, I watched her like over Facebook, but she used to blog and like post about it, and she was 23 years old. She had cervical cancer. It's like I'm like still traumatized by like that whole thing. She had cervical cancer. We had all graduated high schools while we were still in college. No, we had just graduated from college, our first year of college. I think I was like pregnant with my first son, and oh my God, she was beautiful, and she had a identical twin sister, and she had gotten engaged. Again, this like perfect couple. She's beautiful, he's beautiful. They both had, they were both like this like wholesome, beautiful people who had like a nice dog, and they like both went to college, and they were good, and they had good families and good morals, and they like were doing it all right. And he proposed to her in this beautiful way, and their families were close, and during their engagement she's planning this beautiful wedding, and then she said that she just was bleeding a lot, and it was weird, and she said she was afraid that it was like like something bad, like she had gotten like an STD or something, like, and it was like an undiagnosed thing. But she was like, but I knew that didn't really make sense. I just, So she had her twin sister come with her to God, to the gynecologist, and they were like, you have cervical cancer. And she was like, wait, what? And they're like, it's okay, you're really young, like, we can treat this is not an uncommon type, like, we got this. And so she's like, oh, okay, great. And she kept being like, yeah, like, we got this, like, we're all gonna like fight cancer. And I was like, yeah, like, you got it, Margot. We're like, you're young, and like, you're so young, like, and she's like, yeah, no, I know. And we're like, listen, another good thing is you're in like an area that's great for cancer treatment. And like, literally, I don't think anyone expected she was actually gonna die. Didn't even really cross our minds. Like, it was gonna be a fight, and it would probably suck because she would lose her hair for a while, and oh god, it would suck to not have hair for the wedding. But it was scary because it kept getting worse, and I was like, oh, this is it like under control yet? And then I saw her, and it was like every time I saw her, she looked worse. She was like, she got really skinny, and then she like lost her hair. And then I guess because they had to start removing lymph nodes because it was like getting in her lymph nodes, which is what they told me. My cancer was in my lymph nodes, and that was what made all the difference. My cancer actually was not in my lymph nodes. Once it gets to your lymph nodes pass fluid in between parts of your body. Once it's in your lymph nodes, it can start like really moving at that point, because again, it's like getting into your blood, and your blood is running it through your whole body. Your lymph nodes passes it to your body. And so then once you start removing a lot of lymph nodes and your other lymph nodes are breaking down, you start to swell. So her leg was just like, she had like one huge swollen, like, huge leg, and then like a little skinny tiny leg. And it was like watching this woman like decaying before our eyes was horrifying. And that was all I could think about the whole time. I was like, I'm gonna be like, that's all I could think about. I was like, that's gonna happen, like, or and there's no negotiating it. And it's like, I'm so grateful that I'm not in that position. And I had the only other person that I knew that had my exact diagnosis was another girl who was my age exactly. So we were both 33 when we were both 33. She had been diagnosed 2 years to the day that I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed on April 1st, 2021. She was diagnosed on April 1st, 2019. We had the exact same diagnosis. The only difference is that, and here's crazy, right? So I had anal cancer. She had the same thing. It's a really rare form of cancer. And again, I thought it was like a hemorrhoid. And it was weird because I had 4 home births. I mean, 4 like no medication vaginal home births. And if I was prone to getting hemorrhoids, that would have been the time. And I was like, maybe because I'm getting older, so I finally went in. And actually, the main reason I went in was because I really wanted to get cortisol shots for my wrist. I have really bad tendinitis and really, really bad, I think, carpal tunnel syndrome. And I've had it for like a long time. And I just need to get... I've been putting it off because the cortisol, I heard, makes you like gain a lot of weight. And then the surgery requires physical therapy. And like, I don't have time for that right now. But I'm finally going to get it done. Anyway, I had gone in for that. And I was like, yeah, and I think I have like a hemorrhoid. So if you could like, And so my family doctor said, you have 2 hours. No, she goes, well, here, what I recommend is that you start with a cream. I can give you a hemorrhoid cream. Most people, that clears it up. For the small percentage for whom that doesn't clear it up, then, we'll talk about just removing it. And I was like, listen, I have 4 kids. To be honest, I really don't have time to like do a cream and like see if it works. I was like, chances are I'm not going to make it back in a month because I'm going to get busy, and then it'll like a bunch of time will go by. So I was like, can we just like skip to whatever it is that I get this thing like removed? And she was like, no, I got you, huh? My doctor, my GP is so cool. Like, she really, like, she really trusts you to know your own body. And I actually really appreciate and respect that. She gives me a lot of leeway with my own health and stuff like that. And I think that's cool. She doesn't treat me like I'm an idiot. And, so she gave me a referral to a surgeon. And I normally with health stuff, like I put stuff off, but I was like so tired of dealing with it because it was like bleeding and stuff, and it's like kind of gross and like TMI, but like I kept having blood, whatever. And so I had him check it, and he was being really weird when he was checking it, and he was like, I was like, all right, yeah, it's a hemorrhoid, right? And he was like, and he kept, no, I know what he did. He kept asking me questions. He kept asking me questions about my family history with cancer. And I was like, no, I told you like 3 different times that no, there's no one on either side who has cancer. First I got annoyed, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh. I was like, wait, do you think this could be cancer? And I just remember him like being quiet for a minute, and he was like, I think it's possible. And I was like, oh, wow. And I was like, what do you, like, how possible do you think? He's like, I think it's like a 50% chance. And I think that he knew it was more than a 50% chance. I think that he just was like, let's just find out for sure. So I was like, oh. And then, like, when I knew, it was like, he was like, scaring me, because all of a sudden he was like, all right, he was like, you need to make an appointment. And he's like, I'll be right back. And then the nurse came in and tried to schedule me an appointment. And then, she came back and she's like, we can get you in like next month. And all of a sudden he's like, whoa, what do you mean next month? He's like, no, she needs to get in now. And I was like, oh. And he was like, hold on, I'm going to personally go back. He like personally went back and came back. He's like, all right, you have surgery in 2 days. And I was like, oh. And like the lady was like, oh, I thought that they were like totally booked. He's like, no, she has surgery in 2 days. Like, she's in. There's no, like, you need to come in now. And I just remember being like, oh shit, okay. Like, I guess this is like time of the essence sort of thing. And so I came back on that Friday and I had it removed. And then I just remember him calling me back in, because they won't tell you those sort of results over the phone. And I like had my sister come with me. I think I've told this story. I had my sister come with me, and and the guy sat me down. He was like, all right, so I wanted to let you know, it is cancer. And I was like, oh man, like, wow. And he was like, yeah, sorry about that. I was like, wow, thanks. And then he was like, he's like, I just want to let you know though, I think you're young. I think you got a really good shot here, so you just want to give it your all. I really think that if you really give it your all, you got a good shot. And I was like, good shot? I was like, wait, what? I was like, is there like, what do you mean a good shot? Like, is there a chance that like I could like miss the shot? Like, could I die? Like, what? It's just so much to take in at once. And like, I was like, this is like, and like me and my sister were just like, wait, what is he mean like that this could be really bad? It's all right. It all worked out. I'm fine. So I'm like no evidence of disease right now. I've had like a few weird scares and different things. I had like some fluid in my lungs, and then I had some like kidney thing, which actually turned out to be like a totally separate thing, but I'm okay. But anyway, I realized that I hadn't done everything I wanted to do, and I just wanted there to be a record of whatever. If this were to ever come back, because the thing is, the chances of my cancer coming back are pretty high. Even though I'm no evidence of disease right now, that might change. And so I just want to be prepared. If that does happen, I never want to feel caught off guard again. And I want there to be a living record of stuff that I could give my daughters and my sons, whatever. So, Kim Francis says, I've had a lot of cortisone injections throughout my body. I have Paget's disease of the bone. I'm sorry to hear that. And I've never put an ounce of weight on after the injection. Well, that's good. Okay, so you have carpal tunnel. All right, word. That makes me feel better, Kim. I just like, listen, it's even just, I don't like how I feel with a lot of extra weight. I've put on a lot of weight. I've put on like 40 pounds ever since going into menopause last year. So like since like last July, I put on like 40 pounds. And a lot of it I think has to do with like me being in menopause now and stuff like that. I don't know. And like having to take hormones and all this kind of crap. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean this was like not supposed to get really, I like took a lot of like CBD oil. It's like my body's really like calm, and I'm probably just going off on different tangents, but this wasn't supposed to be like a sad or like gloomy stream, so let me like change the subject. All right, so sorry. Thanks, Vultures, I appreciate that. So anyway, I feel like, again, one of like the things that I've been struggling with is like, I get it. I get the rad femme thing. I get that it's important that we like deconstruct all this shit. And I really do. And it's been helpful for me. And it's like not, not a philosophy that I like really was looking for, like wanted to encounter, but I did. So it's like, damn it. All right, you know. All right, I guess you guys have some good points. Like, fuck. I just, like, I'm a little bit self-indulgent. So, you know, self-indulgence and radical feminist separatism, they're not always the most, like, compatible things in the world. Okay, I get it. But with that being said, one of the things that I have noticed a lot when I'm reading in, like radical feminist and like political celibacy sort of threads and streams is like a really severe and sort of widespread just lack of sexual pleasure and like sexual fulfillment amongst women. And it's crazy. And this is not just in these like internet groups, but even like in real life, right? I remember my best friend, my daughter's godmother, not the one that I live with, but one of my best friends. We were both going through divorces at the same time. I was divorcing my husband because he was abusive. She was divorcing her husband just because he was like a douche. I love him. I like grew up with him. I actually know her through him, but he is a douche. I'm sorry. I was always like, Mona, you could do so much better. Like, no offense. But anyway, so we were like going through divorce at the same time, and we used to like we had kids who were like the same ages, so we used to always have sleepovers. We would we basically raised the kids as though they were like cousins. I mean, her and I used to like chill all the time. And just, like, let the kids, like, fuck the house up somewhere and, like, you know, deal with it later. But I remember her and I'll never forget this. So I moved before I bought this house, I had moved into a townhouse, just kind of, like, where I was figuring out where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do with, like, next place, living place. And I remember as I was moving in, she, like, came over and we were hanging out and just, like, we used to just talk and, like, do housework together. And she was like, oh God, how did it even start? She told me that she had never, I like already said too much about how I know it, whatever. She told me that she had never had an orgasm before during sex. And I was like, what? And she was like, dead ass. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, wait, you're serious? She was like, yeah, I don't think I've ever had an orgasm. And she goes, and actually, I don't think I've ever had an orgasm, period. And I was like, what? I like that. My like brain exploded. I was like, ever? She was like, yeah, no. I was like, ever. She was like, no. I was like, you just mean sex though. She's like, no, I mean ever. I was like, ever. I was like, so you like never masturbated? Like, Like, you don't have a vibrator? Like, it like blew my fucking mind. She was like, no, Britt, I'm telling you, I've never had an orgasm. I was like, you're 34. No, how old is she? I was like, you're 29. Why? And I remember I felt so bad because I so overreacted and made it like such a thing. And I kind of looked at her face. I was like, oh no, but I mean, I was like, I guess that's normal. I don't know. I felt so bad for like freaking out. Like, I was like, I like shit my pants over it. But she was like, yeah, no. And I was like, oh wow, okay. I was like, all right, well, we have to like change that. Like, you can't live like that. She's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just don't really know like where to begin. I was like, well, you had to get like a vibrator, or actually, it's like, you know what? No, scratch that. Before you don't get a vibrator, because you'll get addicted to it. And I was like, you have to learn to touch your body. Like, it has to like be you first, right? So whatever, there was like that. And then I started realizing I like that stuck in my mind, and I was like, is my friend, I was like, and I would have never expected that, and like they had sex for all these years. I was like, you got 2 kids, how do you have 2 kids and you've never had an orgasm? And then, but it was true. And it was like so sad to me. And so like, what was your husband doing all this time? I was like, so you've never had an orgasm, and what? He just like never dealt with that? Like, what? I was like, oh, no wonder you're fucking divorcing him. But so I realized though that it's like really common. Because I remember I was telling people as if so I used to always go to a women's group like once a month. It's just like this local group. It's like whatever. And I go to this women's group, and we were just like, it's like a kind of therapy sort of thing, like talk therapy sort of thing. And I remember telling that story. I was like, yeah, it's real crazy. My friend was just telling me like she's going through a divorce and like she's never had an orgasm. And I was like, whoa, bitch, like you're crazy. Like, and she was like, and then like other people were kind of like, And I was like, yeah, but that's crazy, right? Like, right? Like, that's not, no one lives with that. Like, that's not normal. And so I was like, well, yeah, I don't know that I've ever had an orgasm. I was like, wait, what? And like more people were saying like, yeah, they were like, I have like a few times, and I'm pretty sure there was one time. And I was like, oh my God, okay. This is like a widespread thing. That was like, it just blew my mind. So anyway, so I was reading like a lot of like separatist forums and shit like that, because I'm trying to understand it a little bit. Like, listen, I understand it. It was always confusing, like how you could be like a heterosexual woman who's younger and like not necessarily being like in refuge from abuse. Because in that case, I totally understand why people like women don't want anything to do with men. But I was just like, how do people handle not having sex? Like, sorry, and maybe I'm exposing myself as like a weirdo. Maybe I'm the freak in this, because it just was like, how? And I understand that it's like good to like, anyway, so it was like a widespread thing. And then I was really thinking, and then I like was reading more in these separatist what's it called, groups, and they were talking about it, and one of the women said something that I thought was really poignant, and she said, why would I miss something that never felt good? There's nothing to miss, right? It's not like I ever got any pleasure out of it. It's not like I get anything out of it. I'm just like basically like a receptacle. And I was like, oh God, it was like sad. I was like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, if that's how you're experiencing it, then yeah, that's awful. And I think it's a problem in our culture. Steph Lear says a lot of men don't care what we need. Yeah. So like in my own experience, this is why I really say that like casual sex is so bad for women, because I have had casual sex, And I've never like walked away from like a casual like sexual experience and be like, wow, I'm really glad that happened. Like that was phenomenal. I've never like the next day been like, wow, I'm so glad I slept with that guy. Like that was really worth it. No, I've always been like, fuck that. Like I guess he was hot. Like that was dumb. It wasn't. I never felt better, you know, and so I was like, all right, this is gross too. It's just gross. It's like, I'm like, why are you touching me? I don't know. Like, is this normal that like we're like strangers and just like using each other? And then it's like a mutual masturbation. It's like, are we even having sex or are we just masturbating on each other? Like, that's what it's like when it's like you don't love the person. And it's just like, ew. And then you also realize how fucking douchey some guys are. Like some guys who will like be really hot when you first see them and then like you start to listen and like, God, you're really stupid. And I can deal with stupid men, I guess, like, I mean, in terms of them being hot. But like you gotta be stupid, but like own it a little bit. And like you can either be arrogant or stupid. Maybe that's what it is. You can't be stupid and arrogant because that's like a whole fucking like, no. And then I'll end up clowning you and then you'll feel emasculated. It'll be that. Whatever. So casual sex sucks, in my opinion. It sucks. It's weird. It's awkward. It's always disappointing. I think casual sex is really bad for women. I don't know. Maybe some people have had like phenomenal casual sex experiences. That's not been my experience. Vulture says, I hear the opposite about casual sex. What, that it's great? Dear Chimera says, I've recently realized I might be asexual. Looking back at my sexual encounters, I never really truly enjoyed sex and only use it as an exchange to receive affection from men. See, it's hard because it's like I can talk about things from my experience, but I don't want to say things and everyone's like, oh, you know, you're just, you know, not all people are like that, or you're just assuming. You're right. I am assuming. Just based, you know, I've only lived in my own body. I've only lived my own experiences. And I think sometimes it gets really hard when I feel like I have to talk for, you know, women as a class. I mean, that's a huge, complex, oh shit, everybody's got all these different needs and you got to consider all this shit. And it's like, I can't give prescriptions and suggestions because then it's like, it ends up getting so watered down because, you know, I'm trying to think of everybody and I make sure that everyone's needs are being served. And I think sometimes it's okay to just be like, listen, this is what advice I would have liked to receive. Okay. You might benefit from it. You might have to, you know, take what you can from it, leave what you don't want to take, that sort of thing. Abundance says, I was celibate for 6 to 7 years. I look back and honestly, I was miserable during those years. All those times I never connected it to not getting laid though. Yeah, so I think being celibate's good for like periods of time. Listen, and again, I'm talking from my experience, please. If this doesn't apply to you and if you don't agree with this, you know, this isn't saying that everyone needs to feel this way. This doesn't say, this is just my experience, okay? For me, having periods of celibacy is always good, and it's a time for me to sort of just reconnect with other you know, interests and things about myself and just sort of let go of my like sexuality or my existence as a sexual being for a while. And that's nice. It's like a nice departure, you know. But I've always been a very sexual person. And that doesn't mean that I've had sex with like billions of people. You know, that has nothing to do with my partners or how many partners. It's just me and myself. Ever since I was young. I don't know, you know. And I've always enjoyed sex, but that's because I've had really deep connections with my partners, with, you know, and I've always had like long relationships, So like my first boyfriend and the person that I'd lost my virginity to was somebody I dated from like 8th grade until like freshman year of college. And what was interesting about that relationship was that he lived down the shore where we would like go to the beach in the summers. So I would go, it was kind of nice because I would go home and go to school, and he didn't live near me, so when I was at school I could just focus on school. But then it was like I could go see him, and then once I could drive, oh my god, I could go drive and I would spend the whole weekend with him. And his family loved me. I just remember his family was like so wholesome, and they made a big deal out of like every holiday, and they would take me on vacations and stuff, and the mom would like cook for me, and they would let me come to like church on Sunday. And I felt like very much a part of the home life, and I really loved it. I loved it. Like he had a little brother, and it was so cool being part of someone else's family, and it felt really like, I don't know. And in a lot of ways, I think that relationship protected me in a lot of levels. I wasn't going to parties. I wasn't hooking up and doing all this like hookup culture things that kids in high school do. I wasn't, I went to like a few parties, but I wasn't super into them, and I wasn't, I always had a reason to say no to boys and things like that. And he was really good to me. He was really, really kind to me. He was patient with me. We used to do a lot together, not just like, so like we started having sex, and like obviously I was like, oh my god, this is like amazing. I was like, I wanted to have sex like all the time. I was like, this is great. This is great. I was like, if we could just do this, like, this is phenomenal that we have this built-in thing, and it's so fun, and like I fucking loved it. I did, but it's like not all that we did. Like Dragon Kid again says I would have married that family. Listen. Yeah, I love them. I could have really like enjoyed being with them for the rest of my life. But the thing is, I just feel like once I went to college, I had so many bigger ideas, and I wanted to just be a part of like a bigger world and things like that. And that's kind of when I broke up with him, and I was like, I'm going in a different direction now, and I want to explore that, He's wonderful. He has 4 children. We both have 2 boys and 2 girls. He still has a relationship with my parents. Sometimes when I go down the shore, I still stop in and say hi to his mom and dad. And I love them. Like I will always love them. Yeah, but I went to college, and I don't think I could have, I don't think I would have wanted to marry him, but I was very grateful for that time in my life. And so we would like, again, even before we started having sex, when we were just like dating, because we were dating from the time I was like really young, and we would like ride bikes for hours. My parents like let me hang out at his house, and like our parents like knew each other and talked and all that sort of stuff. And we would just ride our bikes, and we would go to this like water pit, and then his friends would come, and then my sister would sometimes meet up with us, and we used to like do like a rope swing into the water, and we would do like flips into the water, and like just spend all day outside. We would ride like ATVs together. It was a really like country sort of lifestyle. Everybody had like big property and stuff like that, and it was a really small town, and I liked that because I was from such a bigger area, but where he lived, it was like a small town, and everyone grew up together and knew each other. And so that he was my first sexual partner, and he was so like took his time with me, and like talked to me, and loved me, and I felt loved by him, and I felt like safe with him and whatever. And it was a really good first sexual experience. So I didn't come into my sexuality with trauma. I had trauma later. Like, I had a really horrible thing that happened, like, during that relationship. I went to a party with another girl, and it was like these like college guys that were there, and I like wasn't really realizing that that's what it was going to be, and like something awful happened, but whatever. So but other than that, it was like, you know uh, like, we would have sex for like hours. And so what would happen was, okay, so my parents had bought this like little beach house way before this place like was cool. They got it for like nothing, and then this whole area ended up like becoming way more expensive, and it was like such a good investment. So, but that's how I'd met him. And so like, so sometimes like, I just remember when I finally got my car, and I would, after school, as soon as school let out, I would drive down to go see him. And so sometimes we would like sneak back to my parents' house just because it was like closed up for the season and stuff like that. And we would have sex for like hours. I mean, like, it was like that beautiful, like, having nothing else to do sort of thing. Or if his parents were gone for the day, we would just like lay up in his bed like for hours, like in the sun, just like naked and talking to each other, and just, I could just be so comfortable with him, and I was so not self-aware. I could just be fully in my body. I felt really accepted. I felt accepted for what I looked like. I just felt accepted for who I was. And I think that was a really positive, like, first. And we stayed together for 5 years, from when I was in 8th grade to a freshman in college. So it worked. I think it kept me safe, I mean, we had like a shitload of sex, which probably, like, if as a parent, like, wouldn't be ideal. I'm sure my parents, if like they knew, they would be pissed. But still, I wasn't like doing drugs. I wasn't like fucking off with like, other people that didn't have my best interests at heart. So Dragon Kid again says, I adopted my ex's family. They loved me before more than my own mother. Yeah, what's true? What's really, I think, why his family felt so important to me was because I'm the youngest out of my siblings, and my brother and sister are like fairly older than me. And so it was like, once they were in college, I feel like my parents stopped like parenting me as much. It was just kind of like, you could do whatever you want, and it was like, and looking back, I'm like, I don't think I would have let me sleep over my boyfriend's house. That's probably not something I'm going to let my kids do, but I was allowed to do it. And so it was kind of fucked up, but I think that they really trusted his parents, whatever. So I think the reason why I loved his family so much was because it was like, my family was kind of like, didn't feel like the same after my brother and sister were gone, and we weren't doing holidays and stuff like we used to. We weren't functioning as a family or eating dinners together, or my parents were kind of just doing their own thing now. And then going to his house, it still felt like it was like a full-on functioning family. Like, we would do holidays, and his mom would like take us grocery shopping, just like little things, or like on Fridays, like buy us Chinese, and like we would like, they'd like get us a movie or something, whatever. I really liked it over there. I felt like I felt like safe. I felt really safe, and it just felt like a nice, just close-knit family. And that was like special for me. So, but like, I like learned to have orgasms with him. And actually, that's not true. I had orgasms on my own, like as a child. And actually, I found out, before anyone thinks I'm like a freak, I am not the only one. Apparently, it's a lot more common than people think. Like, I figured out how to make myself orgasm when I was like a kid. And that's because females are pretty much born with the ability to experience pleasure. And there was like a big, okay, and I don't want to start like a big controversy, but there was a big debate about this. I think it was on my Instagram, where one girl was talking about this. She was like, yeah, because baby girls are born with the ability to feel pleasure, whereas boys have to activate later as they sexually mature, whereas girls always have a clitoris. And that clitoris is always sensitive. And so that's why, you know, you have to be careful about like sexual grooming and things like that. And, you know, like little girls and things like that, like men who know what they're doing can exploit that in some way. The fact that little girls can feel pleasure there, you know, and whatever, you know. So that ended up being like a big debate over whether or not that was sexualizing kids or not. And I was like, I don't think so. I think that's just an important thing to be aware of. I wasn't the one who had made like the original statement, so the controversy didn't really involve me. It was just like around me because it was happening on my page, but not, you know, it's between other people. But yeah, so anyway, but I figured out how to have an orgasm when I was like, I don't know, like really young. I feel like 9 or like 8. I don't know. I was pretty young. So I feel like having sex with him, I didn't feel, I don't know. Like I always think back to my best friend who I grew up with, and I mean, we were best friends from the time I was 4. I still remember to this day, we were 4 years old. This is like how good our memory is. And I still remember so clearly, both of us clearly remember when we met each other and became like best friends. But she told me that she thinks she has like this chronic like tension, you know, that like would make it hard for her to like experience pleasure during sex, where she would just hold herself really tight and she didn't know how to release and how to let go. And, you know, she said that she thinks that it might be related to some like sexual trauma that she can't fully remember or something. And which is totally plausible. But I think a lot of the reason why I was able to enter my sexuality as fully as I did, and with as much just like enjoyment and connection to it in like a positive and healthy way, is because I had a safe childhood. I was not sexually abused as I had a few like weird experiences. Like I remember when I was like 6, I remember I was at an arcade and this like older guy was following me around. Literally, I wasn't even wearing like, it's not like I was wearing like something that was like too mature. I was literally wearing a fucking long sleeve waffle t-shirt like with like button ups. Like it was like this big baggy waffle t-shirt and like I think like kid stretch pants or something, and like the waffle t-shirt like went down far down my legs or whatever, and then I was wearing like sneaks, probably like Velcro sneakers. This is how sick this is. This guy's definitely a pedophile. It's like not funny. So he kept like following me around the arcade, and like I kind of noticed, it's like, oh, this guy's been like following me, but I was like, whatever. And I remember I was playing what's the one, like the bop 'em when you hit the it's like bow when you hit the alligator like with the mallet, and he was like, you're really good at that game. And I was like, yeah, like everybody is. It's not that hard. And then he was like just sitting there for a minute. I could tell, now looking back, I know he was like working to get his like nerve, but I was like, can I help you? Like, do you need something, sir? And then he goes, listen, I'll give you $5 if you watch me pull down my pants. And I was like, what? He's like, if you come outside with me right now, I'll give you $5 if you watch me pull down my pants. And I was like, no. And I remember I was like, whoa. Even like at that age, I knew that shit was like, no, like super weird. And I was just like, no, ew. And so I was there with my friends. Actually, it's said he's dead now. But my mom's best friend's older son, who had taken me, and he was playing a different game. I was like, David, this guy said something, da da da. And he was like, all right, come on, let's get out of here. And he like took me straight home to like where my parents were, because like he was supposed to be babysitting me, whatever. And like his, I think our like parents were like literally like right down the road, whatever. And so then they like called the cops, and we had to like go around like trying to ID him. I don't think we ever found out who he was. But not enough money to see it. No, okay, dragging, it's really fucked up. I remember that was like one of my first thoughts. I was like, is he fucking kidding me with $5? I was like, why would you think $5 is enough? And like, I just remember that was like my first thought as a kid. I was like, $5? Fuck. Like, my mom gives me 20 just for no reason. Yeah, it was fucked up. What did Lisa say? I was giving myself as a young child no penetration. I had no clue about it. Yeah, it was like, I knew someone male whose mom raped him as a child. Oh, God. So he would side with her during divorce court. Wow. I know some really fucked up stories from people. See, the thing is, especially now that, like, I know people, and I know some really sick childhood sexual abuse stories that are, like, wow, like, mind-boggling. I'm very lucky. Like, all in all, like, other than, like, a few, like, weirdo things, like, I'm very lucky that I didn't go through any of that sort of stuff. I'm really sorry to hear that, dear. And that's awful. And I'm sorry to, yeah, it's sick. Yeah, I think a lot of girls as kids, so they say that, like, most female girls, children, will have their first orgasm in the bathtub. I think it's like the running water, which is like totally the case with me. So I remember I found them like, oh, really? That's like, because I was like, yeah, that was definitely true with me. Like, I definitely had my first orgasm like in the bathtub, like when the like water was like coming down, whatever. And then I was like, wait, this feels really good. And I was like, this is great. Like, this is like, it's from as early as I've like experienced my first orgasm. I was like, this is the greatest thing in the world. Like, this is just phenomenal. Like, we're built in like this. I fucking love it. I'm for it. I'm with it. This is great. Oh God. Yeah. Yo, I'm telling you, I think a lot of us had our first orgasm in the bathtub. I think like I've read it online. I've seen other people agree. Like, I really think it's like very common. So, like I said, it was definitely the case for me. It might not be the case for... So, I think those of us who did not have our first orgasm in the bathtub have suffered greatly. Because I don't know. From my personal experience, I strongly believe that one has to know how to give oneself an orgasm as a female before you can, realistically have an orgasm with a man. I mean... women's bodies are so much more complex. Like, men orgasm like over anything. You could touch a man the wrong way and he'll bust a nut, right? They're like very, yeah, they're some men, dear, I understand. You mean you're like in a different box there, but you know what I mean. So, God, reading more from like a lot of like the black pill sort of separatist sort of stuff, I think a lot of women have entered adulthood never really experiencing like pleasure. And I think pleasure really also, like, yeah, you can like just give yourself an orgasm. But I think as a woman, having pleasure with a partner requires like so much more just touch and tactile and just you can't just be penetrated and that's it. You know what I mean? It just requires, I don't know. That's why. So then my next person I was with was in college. He like went on to be an anesthesiologist. So he's a physician now. But we met in college and I like thought he was really hot, but like in an offbeat way. Like he's actually not that attractive like at all. But there was like something about him and I literally turned to my girlfriend Laura and I was like, that's going to be my boyfriend. And like I was just kidding, but like I actually did make him my boyfriend. I went up to him and I was like, I really like you and let's chill. I've actually never had a problem like approaching men and like being the one to like basically ask them out. That's like another thing too. If I want somebody and if I really like them, like I will just, I'm not wasting time like trying to like signal him to like come talk to me. I'm just be like, you're really like hot and I want to chill. And so that's how that happened. Anyway, so him and I spent like 4 years together and he was really fucking smart. Oh, he was so smart and so interesting to talk to. And I used to like lay up with him. And again, I mean, we would have, sex for like hours. And it was cool because it was the first time I was living away from home and I had this shitty little apartment and I would light candles and we would burn incense. And it was this like flow between like intellectual conversation and like having sex and just like, I don't know, just being wrapped up in each other and just wrapped up in these new experiences and just like, I love one-on-one. I'm a very one-on-one kind of person. Like, I'm not a social butterfly. She always makes fun of me. My like girlfriend who lives with me always makes fun of me. Because one time I was like, yeah, God, I remember back in college, I was like, man, I used to be so glad that the bars closed at 2 a.m. because I am not staying out later than that. She was like, you would. I like hate people. I hate a lot of people. I hate when like we have to be fake. I hate being fake and I hate being shallow. I'd rather like have a really hardcore, like deep, ephemeral conversation with one person than like chill with like a whole bunch of people. I can't. I get drained. I can't do it. Little Cat Feet says, pleasure can be complex if you've experienced childhood sexual abuse. Absolutely, I can imagine. Sadly, my experience, but made up for all of that in my 30s and 40s. 40s are women's teenagerhood. Yeah, don't remind me, because I'm not going to experience that. Do you know that that's another thing? You know how much I cried when I found out I was going to go into menopause? I was like, I'm glad that, like, I lived. That's great. But since I am gonna live, like, I really don't want to go into menopause, and I did everything I could to avoid it, because that's the thing. Little Kathy, I don't think you understand. I've been like waiting to cash in on my 40s as my sexual peak since I learned about it at like 22. I was like, oh man, once I turn 40, like, I can't wait. And now I'm never going to experience that. It's all right, because I have had some very wonderful years, but Jennifer says, I'm totally with you on not playing games, but then men hate that. The worst kind of feminine is to be masculine. Being fake and playing games is also what they hate about. Yeah, it's kind of impossible. That's why I really just feel like you just have to just be yourself. Because you're never going to please everybody and like trying to figure out what they want. I'm pretty masculine. I'm pretty masculine in relationships. Like, I'm assertive, and I think that's like what didn't work about my husband, because I was like, he also just wasn't fucking doing his job. But yeah, my boyfriend now, they've made fun of me for this on what's it called, what's like the shit talking site that they've posted about me on a couple times. Oh God, Kiwi Farms. So one of the things that they like, I like one, a couple times I tried not to do it, but I like had to go see what they were like saying on Kiwi Farms because I saw that I had like a hit from there. And so one of the things that they were saying was they were making fun of me for talking about my boyfriend and like calling him traditionally masculine. And I'm like, but it's true. It's true. And it's not, I mean, yeah, I guess if you want to, from a rad femme perspective, that's, lame and whatever. But it's true. And he's like a very masculine person, but I feel like in some ways, like I'm the more masculine one. And it's crazy because you look at, he's like huge. He's the most fucking physically powerful person. He's like 6'2", like just fucking big. And I, like I said, he like grew up in West Philly. I mean, he's like knows how to like manage other men, and he's like really charismatic and like has a really strong personality. Like people love him in our city. He's like loved in our city. But then in like some ways I'm like the more masculine, like dominant one. And like they kind of love that shit. I don't know. It's been my experience that like the right kind of man loves that shit. So he does. So that's good. Yeah, Kiwi Farms, yeah. They've like made fun of me about it like a couple things on Kiwi Farms. What did they say? Oh, they got a picture of me and my boyfriend. Kiwi Farms reposted a picture of me and my boyfriend, and they're like, yeah, that's about what I'd expect. Like a white trash single mother of four to look like with her boyfriend. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm a happy white trash mother of four, okay? Just fuck off. Oh, man. You can't really, like, get mad at stuff, I love my boyfriend. I'm sorry. I love my boyfriend. Okay. I get that makes me lame. I fucking love him. He's so nice. He's so nice. He's so nice to me. He's so fucking nice to me. He's so just good and sweet and just, he's such a nugget. Like, I don't care. I love him. And so when I had cancer, he like loved me through cancer. And he used to always tell me, he's like, Britt, I don't care if you're like, I was like, I might gain all this weight from like having my lymph nodes. He's like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you lose all your hair. I don't care if you're like a blob. I don't care. I don't care. I love you. It doesn't matter. I love you. I'm still going to want to hold you. And then I was like, and then I'm going to go to menopause. And then I'm never going to want to have sex again. And then you're going to, not want to. He was like, I don't care. If they like weld your vagina shut, I don't care. That's not why I'm with you. Like, I love you. It's fine. Like, we'll get through this together. It's fine. I love you. And he was really nice to me the whole time and like kept my spirits up. And like, I will love him forever for that. And it's never made me feel like not good enough. I would Jodi Arias my accent, but I would want to not be in jail. I mean, listen, there's a decent amount of women who've gotten away with it, so I'm gonna say. Vulture said I made it. Yeah, listen, I made it to Kiwi Farms like a while ago. And that's like when I felt, I was like, oh shit, they're talking about me. I was like, that's cool. I know, I low-key did see it as like a badge of honor. I was like, yes, that's good. Like, yes, they're making fun of me. Yes, they're like disparaging me in my relationship, but they're talking about me, and that means they're paying attention, and that's exciting. So I was kind of like flattered. You can be sweet and masculine. MRAs are never in a kill zone. I think that like, oh god, dear, stay away from Kiwi Farms. It's like a no man's land of like internet hell. It's just like it's like an anonymous like shit posting site. So if you want to like go talk shit about like some fringe creator, that's the place to do it. Yeah, but it was a little exciting that they decided that I was worthy to be talked about. But so yeah, I do think there's an epidemic of women who have never experienced pleasure, and I think it has to start with yourself. You can't experience it's like love. You can't love anyone until you love yourself. With pleasure, you can't experience pleasure with anyone until you've experienced it with yourself. And you just know how to touch your own body. And also like microdose mushrooms, guys. You know, I mean, listen, I'm not a doctor. But if you, oh my God, it's so late. Oh, fuck, I'm so tired. Sorry, I just noticed what time it is. I've been talking for way too long and I feel like I haven't said anything. Sorry. You know, you've made it when you have a Kiwi Farms thread about, yeah, no, I don't have a thread. But I've like appeared in a few other threads. So, you know, I'll take it. Fuck, it's late. Damn it. I like talk. God, I want to like, can you guys like call in? Like, you know, I gotta do like one of the, do you think at night would you guys call in if I made the Zoom, like, just like not even a big official call-in show, but if at a night like this, if I just let the Zoom link up, that's what I'm gonna do. If I ever do these late night streams again where we just talk about whatever, I'll leave the Zoom link where people can like basically call in and you get put on like in like a waiting room. They call it a waiting room, and then I can allow you in and you can like join the stream. All right, cool. Yeah, because I feel I don't want to just sit here and talk. I'm tired of talking. You guys talk. I want to hear from you. Sometimes I don't even like, not even talking about anything. I want to hear from you guys. Oh, God. What was my point? Oh, yeah. I just think everyone should masturbate more. That's the ultimate point of the stream. No, but like if you've never had an orgasm, like you really, really need to resolve that. And listen, and I understand there's all these complex issues with like childhood sexual abuse and that, but I still think like reclaiming that. Listen, I've had sexual abuse. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I've been like, I had an incident where I was, you know, assaulted by two grown college students when I was like 15. And that was really horrible. And I like went to the police and everything, and the police like didn't do anything. But what was I gonna say? I think that reclaiming your body is a really powerful thing, and I think just, I don't know, spiritual sex is such like a precious part of being alive. And I remember I cried so much when I heard I was going to be in menopause, because I was like, I don't want to lose that. And I remember my boyfriend used to always be like, it's okay, we don't need to have sex, and I was like, what? But yeah, we do. I don't want to not. It's sad. He's like, well, we can, and whatever you want. He's like, I don't care. Honestly, he's like, sex isn't that important to me, you know? But I was like, I feel like it's important to me. I don't want to not have that connection and that just reprieve from the world. It's like an antidepressant, and it's beautiful, and it's this like precious thing that we have and we connect, and it's like you just can, it's like this ecstasy. I don't know. And it's so, can be so like sweet and loving too, and it's like some of the best conversations I've ever had are during sex, where I'm like really, really just like opening up, or where they're really just opening up and just talking to me and showing me all these things about themselves and all these like deep inner things. And it's such a beautiful moment of just human connection. We don't need less connection. We need more. That was another thing. I was like, God, all that matters in this world are like loving my kids and like loving my boyfriend. Like, what else matters? Like, that's literally how I felt, where I was like, I might die. Like, I was like, what else matters? I just want to be with you guys, like, in every way. Yeah, free Jody. Free Jody. Free, like, every woman who's ever, like, killed a man. Oh, man. just proved my testosterone voice is really female. It is female. Because you're a female. So, female is whatever we are. Even a voice that's been altered, a detrans voice, that's still a female voice, and I kind of think what was so attractive about some of the trans stuff is like the androgyny of it all, and just moving in between both spaces of being male and female. And I guess I can see like the allure of that. So I really do have like some masculine parts of me. Called her horrible things 3 whole wonder and was oh god. Dude, that's just, I get like, God, some of the stuff is just so horrible. And like, I just, okay. Can I like tell you guys something really funny? Yeah, and congratulations, Dragon. And like, I'm really, glad to have you in the community. And, I'm like, I appreciate like the vulnerability of a lot of detrans people, and I just appreciate the vulnerability of like a lot of people in this community who have been really open and honest and raw. And like, Dragon, you're definitely one of them. Was calling myself genderqueer and two-spirited before the teen movement co-opted everything. Yeah. It's really tough. There also shouldn't be any pressure to orgasm. If it happens, it happens. Yeah. No, and I think when there's pressure, okay, one of the things, and I like had to like check the shit out of my boyfriend. I was like, you gotta do me a favor. Don't ever tell me to come. Like, if you sit there and be like, I want you to come, it's gonna like psych me out. And then I'm gonna be like, fuck, why did you say that? Because now I have this like weird sense of pressure. I was like, and he's like, oh, my bad, I won't say that again. But I was like, oh man, as an Indigenous Canadian, I'm insulted by the colonization of my community. Yeah, it's all what I want to like hear from you, Dragon. You seem like you have a lot of really interesting insight and like your experience. And it's great. I'm really interested that you're also a tall woman. I'm a really tall woman, and I feel like that's also kind of like a different experience. Like, I'm like, okay, you guys see the picture of me with my girlfriend who lives with me, the like one picture, the first picture, look at it again. I dwarf the shit out of her. If you go back on my community tab and like the recent pictures that I posted of me and my girlfriend who I live with, she's like tiny next to me. That'll give you like some perspective of how fucking big I am. My friend's ex would get angry with her for not getting there quick enough. Yeah, all that shit is weird. Like, if anyone, and that sort of stuff needs to be like an instant red flag. And I think being with somebody who really genuinely is like kind and respectful to me, and like, it's been, again, we've been together for years now. So it's not like I'm in like a honeymoon period with him. I mean, we've been together for, 4+ years. He has never talked to me like that. And it's crazy when I look back and you think about all these things. The worst relationship of my life, and as sad as it is to say, was my husband. Yeah, I think I always knew I wasn't going to be happy. We had a few years in the middle where actually like our marriage was really good. And then he started, I don't know, I feel like it's like that's why you can never break the seal of ever like putting your hands on somebody, because then it just became too easy of like a way to like dominate me. When he felt like, and I think it's when men start to feel like deeply insecure. Like, he had lost his job, and apparently that's another huge precursor to domestic violence. I think like when men feel inadequate, and then it's like Yeah, there's just a whole lot of why that happens and why men become abusive. But so to go from that to be like in the relationship that I am now, and I think about like all the times that he would just casually disrespect me, my ex-husband, and like just like ignore me, or I would just say something, just like wouldn't acknowledge that I was speaking, like just didn't. I would sit there and like talk to him about things. He just like didn't care, wasn't interested. It was like I wasn't even there. It was crazy. Like I felt so non-existent. And then just to like be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't talk to you bad, somebody who's like, not only do they not talk to you bad, but they're like talk to you like like with kindness, like all the time. And you know, I just think with those sort of things, like you kind of can't tolerate them even once. I think that someone who really loves you will never do them even once. We do hurtful things to each other, you know, in life, you know, even people that we love, but like once a certain line has been crossed, you kind of realize that like there's no uncrossing that line, and it's too easy to keep resetting the line further and further down. Um yeah, being with somebody who used to like really make me feel shitty about myself, and then being with somebody who I feel really safe and secure with, even like the whole like when I like decided to like stop shaving, like I wasn't like, oh god, like what's Hawk gonna think. I was just like, oh look babe, like I stopped shaving. And he was like, I heard that that's actually better because then you like have better pheromones. And he was like, and then I'll be like more like addicted to your smell. I was like, I think so. You know, it was like, it never for a minute was I like nervous of what he was gonna think, or it's just like a really nice experience in life to have somebody who, I don't know, I talk to him about all of this kind of stuff. You know, I like will just rant to him about like my channel and like my topics and things that I like having somebody in life that's just does life with me, but then also just has this like this beautiful like physicality of like he's just this beautiful creature that I can just like fall into when life sucks, and you just hold me and just make everything feel better for a little while. You know, I think that we can have these really like positive, beautiful sexual connections. I think it just things are all rooted in respect, you know, respecting that we're individual sovereign beings and that our bodies are sacred. And yeah, there's a lot of fucked up shit in the world. There's a lot of mean, bad things that people do to each other. Little Cat Feet says, I'm glad you've gone on to a positive, loving relationship. I really am too. I really, really am too. I'm really grateful that I did cancer with him. I'm really grateful that like I get to just do life with him. And you know what the crazy thing is too? I think that in like a fucked up way, I'm really glad that I don't have children with him. And I'm glad that we get to raise children together and to be involved. You know, he has an older son who's 13, who's like huge. He's like the size, he's 6'2". This boy is 13, just turned 13, so like was 12 not that long ago. Is 6'2" and has a size 15 shoe. He's like being recruited practically already for football for like college, and he's 13. They're like expecting him to be some like amazing football player. But I think that part of why our relationship is so good is because we don't have to parent together. We don't actually have biological children together. And we're not married. And he like really like wants to get married because he's like, I've never really like, he's like, I love you. And I just feel like, I don't know where I am on that. I don't know, like in the one way, it's like really beautiful to have this moment, this like, even if it's just like this ceremony. We had this like beautiful plan where we wanted to get married like in the river with like just us and like very few people, and like stand in the middle of the river and like both like say things to each other and stuff. And then I would have like a really long like veil and dress and like let it like flow in the river. We would like lay in bed and like talk about what it was going to be like. But then it's like maybe part of the reason we get along so well is because we don't feel like we own each other, you know? It's like a uncaged bird. They come back cuz like they want to, not because the cage door is closed. And it's sort of a nice feeling. Um So, Bundan says, it's my hope that everyone finds someone they can be open and safe with, but I also believe that romantic partnership is in the cards for everyone. Sometimes soulmate can be a family member or friendship. I absolutely. Listen, guys, and all I can really do is speak from my own experience, you know, and I never want it to be like where I'm like romanticizing relationships as an institution, or you know, a heterosexual relationship as an institution is something that we should all strive for. You know, I can only talk about how things have been healing for me and how things have been, you know, beautiful for me, and how what this is like, you know. And it, you know, I don't know, you know, that's all I know how to, like, that's really I've know other people's stories because they've told me, but the only timeline I've lived is my own. You know, and I think it's important that we reevaluate our lives through each other's lenses and stuff like that. And trust me, I've been doing a lot of that, even when it seems like I'm resisting. But I am happy, you know, even through all of the separatist stuff that I've been reading and learning and really meditating on and all of this stuff, like, I'm really happy in my relationship. And I really think that by now, like, I do think separatist stuff is really important, because I think it was like, even in my marriage, if I had really stopped for a minute and meditated, I think way before he ever put his hands on me the first time, I could have figured out that I wasn't happy and that I didn't have to keep going. I do think it's really important that we challenge women where it's like, you don't have to be in this relationship. You don't have to be in any relationship. If this doesn't serve you, if you're not happy, if you find yourself, I used to cry more often than I ever felt happy in my marriage. I used to cry all the time. You know, if I ever really like sat and meditated and be like, hey, you know, maybe this isn't a good thing. Maybe this isn't how it's supposed to be. So I think that that's really important for women, that they have something telling them, you know, really sit with your relationship and meditate. Are you happy? Is this serving you? Is this good for you? You know, and I think for a lot of times we can sit and say, no, it's not. No, this isn't good for me. And I don't have to be here. I don't have to. And I'll be okay. I will be okay. And that is a really scary and powerful moment when you're like, wow, I can leave this and I can be okay. I went through that. You know how hard it is to leave your husband? It's hard. Your whole life is intermingled. We have children together. You know how many times when I would think, like, God, I need to leave him, but for right now, the kids need to get, you know, bathed, and I need to get them to bed, and it's like, yeah, it's so hard. It's like, you know, when's tomorrow going to happen? Because then it's like life is still rolling at all times, and I'm tired, and there's things going on, and it's easier just not to do anything. So in some ways, like, hitting me was like a gift in a way, because it was like a catalyst. It was a catalyst. I was like, no, now I have to leave. I can't stay. I no longer have the luxury to think about it. I must leave. I have an obligation to leave. I have children. The choice about whether to leave or stay has now been made for me. I have a responsibility to now leave because I have children who I cannot keep in this environment. I don't have the right to keep them in this environment. Dear Chimera says, when you touched on the Disney fantasy of finding your Prince Charming in your beauty essay, that really hit me. What did I say? I forget. Sometimes I will rant or do a stream, and then sometimes it's a stream of consciousness. Oh, but I actually wrote that. I don't remember what I said. Brain dead. Dear, I've really appreciated you in this community. And him and I have talked privately. He's a really good person, you guys. I know we all had to kind of test him and stuff, and people were ganging up on him a little bit. But he's a really good one, and he's thoughtful, and yeah. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you being so open and patient in this space. I appreciate all of you. I really do. And it's crazy. I always say it's so crazy. I know you guys now. In a lot of ways, I know all the different personalities. I know Dragon Kittigan's story. I know her personality. I know that she's 6 foot tall, and I love that because I'm damn near 5'10" and a half. And my sister's 5'11". We're tall girls. We've always been tall women at best. Yeah, but I like that Lisa Fenwick doesn't know the other half of the people involved in drama, and I love that because it just reminds me, everybody does, not everyone knows what's going on. That's kind of nice. There's some nice that some people are just not in the loop with all that stuff. I'm oh yeah, that's nice too. Oh God. And abundance. Oh, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you because I remember you were not happy with me when I first made one particular video, but now I feel you kind of get a little bit more of why I did that. But it's funny. Oh, little Cappy, yeah, it was Australian. My Australian, who also heard I had a rocky beginning and then is turned into be one of my favorite people that I hear from. But it's crazy. I just know a little tiny circle and whatever name you guys picked, and that's, but still I've gotten to know who each of you are. It's so weird. It's so weird, and it's been cool, and I've really enjoyed this experience. Maybe I'll try to make it so that evenings I'll put the link to do Zoom and people can call in. I don't even know if this video will get any views. I was part of Rad Femme drama on Facebook many years ago. Yeah, I don't know. I stir the pot. I'll admit that. I just don't understand why it's still going on. I do stir the pot. I'm I can be a little agent of chaos sometimes, and I need to remember that and check myself. I'm competitive. I think that's what it is. I can be really competitive, and sometimes it keeps me entertained and it keeps me motivated to keep going, when I have something to compete with and compete against, and it helps me just just to push for the next achievement, whatever. Oh Lord. Alright guys, I gotta go to bed. Lisa said I read all the feminist stuff. I read all the feminist stuff and still stayed in an abusive relationship. Human stupidity knows no bounds, unfortunately. Yeah, that's true. It's sneaky when it's mostly psychological abuse. Psychological abuse is really tough. Really tough, because that's the thing that started. Again, it's kind of, the one thing about getting hit is that there's no ambiguity there. When you get hit, it's time to go. it's done. It's done. So it is hard when it's psychological abuse. And you're like, am I a part of it? Is it also me? All that kind of stuff. Dragon says you all stir the pot, mostly when I'm hungry. I know. I feel like, listen, the community likes a little bit of drama. That's why everybody was going to Karen's page for a while. It's all good. It's like none of it is that serious. That's the thing I think that like everyone needs to realize. It's really not that big of a deal. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm sorry, Reverend Coffin's other son. I know. I'm sorry. This like stream was not about anything. So I don't want to like junk my channel up too much with like stupid streams like this, but they're kind of nice sometimes. I like talking to you. Karen's hilarious. Oh, Karen's really funny. I love Karen. Like, I'm just so glad, though, that she never came for me. I was like, oh, let's just stay over here. The good side of Karen. I do not want to be, like, on the receiving end of her wrath. So, oh my God, is my cat under there? Yeah, she's scary. But you know what? I think that if I had to, what makes it hard? It's you guys. It's you guys. Because it's like, the worst is if like, it'll be one of you guys who will like jump in and like agree. Not like actually you guys who are in here, but it'll be the snipes from the people in the audience. And I'm like, damn it. Oh man, yeah, none of it's all that. It's really not like, and that's why it's so important. I think that's why it's so important for me to have like, my boyfriend said, he's like, ever since you've had that channel, he's like, I feel like you like never argue with me about anything anymore, because now you're just like arguing with these people. He's like, I feel like it's actually a good thing. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true. He's like, because you'll pick fights with me for like no reason, and I just know to just kind of like wait for it to pass. He's like, but now you have like those people to argue with, and it's kind of great. And I was like, yeah. I was like, it has been very good for our relationships, I will admit. So it's really not that serious. Like Oh God, that's a good one. Judy C. Anyone see Jessie Gender's new face? No, but there you go. I needed somebody to like. I need to get back to doing some gender critical content, because I know that that's what like the main viewer base like. There is a whole crew of like you guys who like come to the streams and like participate. And I love hanging out with you guys, but like the vast majority of the viewership is like not coming to like streams and all that sort of stuff. So what they really like is the gender critical shit. It's like and also YouTube punishes you if you go off of your like main content. So I've already kind of established myself as like a gender critical channel. And it's like, if you do like an off-topic video, YouTube like doesn't promote it that much. And like, plus then your viewership is like, yeah, this is not really what I subscribe to for. So I gotta be careful. I gotta like balance it. I do like doing other topics. I do think the gender critical thing is really important, and I enjoy doing it. But I like doing other topics sometimes too. Oh, Lord. Am I an ENTP personality? I don't know what I am. If so, that's why you enjoy these online debates. Yeah, I like them. They're like, I don't get upset. Like, I've seen some really fucked up things said about me. Like, if I can go like read what's written about me on Kiwi Farms, like, then that that like I have thick skin. And that is one thing like I do love about myself, is that like I've always been like that as a kid. I was like never afraid to like check somebody scary, or I was never afraid to like stand up for myself. Yeah, I don't let myself get intimidated by stuff. I guess I do sometimes, but not really. Would you maybe do a second channel for other topics? Yeah, I guess I could do that. But like, would people follow it? I mean, I like don't even really have that many followers as it is. I've like, what, like 4,600 followers. Like, yeah, that's great. You know, people watch. It means that like people like sort of watch my videos, but it's not that much. I don't know. Maybe is it enough for me to like? I don't know. Oh, I gotta go to bed. Oh my fucking god. It's 1 a.m. I gotta go, you guys. I love you guys. Hey, Leek. What is it? Leeka? Sorry, guys. I love you guys. Yeah, anyone who deletes comments like that's a clown. I'll only delete comments if it's like really like crossing a line. And like if you're gonna like get really disrespectful, then like, you know. But I let a lot of shit slide. Oh man, I spend too much time arguing with red pill guys. Yeah, everyone should listen. The more the people start their own channels, the more shit that I'll have to like respond to. I'm stuck responding to like Lisa Michelle. Someone start a goddamn channel so I have like interesting stuff to like think about and engage with. I need something better. Britt, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. You're far more beautiful without makeup. Oh, thank you. And you're taller than 6 feet. That's really cool. That's like, I don't see. It is rare that women are taller than me. So I think it's really cool. And when I like have someone and I gravitate towards tall women, I think. I like when we all could just like have like a presence. I don't know. Oh, man. Defending drones. Oh, God, there's too many of those. Thanks, I appreciate it, guys. I always get, like, comments, though. If I wear makeup, I get comments. If I don't wear makeup, it's like, oh, you look so tired. Oh, God, are you sick? Oh, God, are you... I'm like, all right. Like, I get it. I have bags under my eyes. Like, fuck off. Oh, Christ. I don't think we'll all agree, and some people have weird triggers. You know what? See, I've always been like, I don't like hypocrisy. I really just like, you know what I mean? And I hate when it's like we all know that someone's like being fraudulent about something and like no one has the balls, or sorry, I gotta stop using that phrase. No one has the audacity to call it out. And I'm like, all right, like if someone needs to check you, I'll be the one to check you, you know? Yeah. But I think like overall, I don't know, whatever. You ever see Amy Schumer's skit about makeup? No, I'll watch it. Worth watching. No, I'll check it out. I don't feel a real radical feminist analysis would criticize makeup. Really? Interesting. Plus, it keeps your skin looking younger, not clogging up your pores. Yeah. I don't really wear a lot of, like, actually, that's not true. Yeah, I do sometimes. I don't always wear concealer. Only like at first when I was doing videos, because I'm like, oh god, my like the bags under my eyes and stuff. But I don't really wear concealer all the time. Hypocrites always seem to know best. Yeah, like I just feel like, come on, like and like. You know, at a certain point, just to me, it's just to be honest with ourselves about stuff. You know, and I think it's like when you have this like sort of hyperinflated view of what you're supposed to be. Like, no, I don't listen. I'm not gonna keep feeding the drama, and I know that for some people it's like a big turn off to even like keep referencing it. But then like, I like finally like sat and, like actually listened to one of the streams, like the makeup stream of like two other creators, and like they were like, oh yeah, one day this will be like a, you know, a feminist tome or a tome of feminist, like, no, one day our Discord will be compiled into a tome of feminist writings and will be revered as like, you know, these important correspondences of like two great feminist thinkers. And I was like sorry. Yeah. I like clown the shit out of that part with my girlfriend, because she always listens. She always hears me like walking around like listening to stuff, and I like busted out laughing, and like I like replayed it for her. She was like, "Oh God." I was like, "Bro, God, come on, will you like knock it off, will ya?" Like, great. I'm sorry, I gotta stop being petty. Anyway, Lisa Fenwick says, I mean, misogynists also criticize women for wearing makeup. Yeah, you know, it's just the one thing I didn't like about it. Two things. It seemed like it gave a lot of rad femmes license to, like, sexually degrade me. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You absolutely don't have the right to talk to me like that. And don't ever in your life make that kind of a comment about my body and my appearance again. Like, honestly, like, in real life, like, I would actually smack the dog shit out of you if you ever said that to me to my face. That's a crazy thing. Getting bold behind these screens. And that's the thing. I'm like, you know, nobody would fuck with me to my face. It is what it is. But, like, if I'm confrontational online, I'm sure as shit confrontational in real life. And that's just a fact. But, like, it just seems like a lot of the makeup critical and beauty critical shit has given rad femmes a license to be very sexually degrading. And you better watch. Some people really need to watch what the fuck they say to people, because some of the shit that's been said to me, like, I'm a sexually traumatized person. My husband was raping me, like, on a regular basis. And, you know, you're lucky that I have a pretty strong sense of self, but the shit that you're saying to me is really not okay. And, you know, to sexually degrade a sexually traumatized woman because of what, some sort of, like, makeup critical, like, reading, like, you know, you better fucking watch your mouth. And I've said that to a few people. I've had people, like, and again, and I think, like, in the beginning, people thought that I was, like, real brand new, and, like, you know, I didn't have a lot of, like, I'm, like, the new girl, and I don't have friends. And I'm like, bro, just because, like, I might be, like, new to, like, the gender critical community and, like, y'all don't know who I am, like, doesn't mean that I don't know who I am, and you're not gonna fucking talk to me like that. Like, honestly, because I'll really air you the fuck out. And people are like, oh, God, you know, she's talking about us on a video. I'll air out this whole fucking room if you want to, like, you know, get real with it, and you guys think you're gonna, like, dogpile me. That shit's not gonna happen. Like, it's just not. Because, like, I'll literally, like, go and I'll, like, we could really, like, go, like, toe to toe on it. You know? And so it's like, I don't understand how, like, I'm 34 years old, and never in my life since I was, like, a teenager has anyone talked to me like that. And now I get a bunch of people, and I'm offering something on the internet is something that's, like, I'm doing as, like, a free service. If you don't like what I'm saying, fine. But don't you ever in your life come and make some fucking degrading comments about me as a woman, about my body, my sexuality, my, like, bro. So that's the one thing I really don't like about the beauty critical shit. Radical feminism. I think that it's given rad femmes a license to be as sexually degrading to me as, like, you know, high schoolers were back in high school. But since I've been an adult, no one's ever talked to me the way that some people from these communities found and fixed their fucking face to talk to me. It would never happen in real life. That much I can say. But I just recently got out of the sex industry. Thank God, Lisa. I'm glad to hear that. I don't recommend it, but a lot of stuff some rad femmes are saying isn't helping, in my opinion. No, it's not. It's sexually degrading. It's not to be helpful. It's women who actually have, like, and one thing, it's crazy because some people have said some of the most fucked up shit to me, and, like, I'll want to go and, like, investigate a little bit, like, who is this person? And a few times, some of the people that, like, I went and, like, figured out who they were and what they were about. And I'm like, oh, this isn't coming from, like, a good place. Oh, no, this person's got some of their own shit going on. This isn't coming from, like, a place of, like, oh, like, wanting to preserve, like, feminist theory. No. You have some, like, personal shit. And you have, like, some, like, hate that this is coming from. And you can kind of see the roots of some of the shit. Some of the, like, bitterness in some of it. And it's like, that shit's like, that's gotta stop. And like I said, one thing I will say, and that I saw, and I'll call it out again. I had gone over on Lisa Michelle's page because, like, I guess someone was like, oh, she posts about whatever. And one of the first comments that I saw was a really fucking sicko comment made to her saying, like, oh, you're just jealous that, you wanna, fuck, what did it say? It was like, you're just mad at younger women who are attractive, who can get men who you can't get, and you're just lonely, so that's why you're like lashing out. Some really fucking, and it's just like, wow, how do people really feel comfortable saying some of the shit that they say? I don't understand that. Like, as a community, how the fuck do some people feel comfortable saying some of that shit? And I guess as you get older, you gotta let some of that shit roll. But like, I don't even like her, and I would smack the dog shit out of somebody for like, if I heard that in real life. You know what I mean? Just like out of principle. Like, people really need to like watch themselves, and watch like some shit that you say to people. You don't know who's on the other side of that screen. You don't really know what people have been through. You don't really know what someone, some people say some really sexually derogatory things. I've been called like a whore, all kinds of shit. But I have enough support in my life. But if I didn't, I mean, from some of the shit that I've been through, like, I've had like pockets of fucked up shit happen in my life. And if I didn't have the sort of like sense of self that I have, you can really like fuck with people. So, and then it's like, sometimes it's like the people that I see who say shit like that are all just like, you see that they're like kind of fucked. So I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't like that shit. Yeah, well, people are way too comfortable online. And it's another good reason to remember why it's so important to log off sometimes. There are some times when it can feel devastating when people say fucked up shit about you. And I've felt that way, where I literally like made me feel sick. Not in a while. One thing that I learned to really combat that was to go investigate whoever's talking shit. Really, go investigate them. And I literally can learn about, it's fucked up. You can learn a lot about people, and I would never dox anybody. I'm not with that shit, right? But it's like, you, even just from like people's like names and stuff on here, it's really easy to look up people's information and like piece together stuff based on common history and all that sort of shit. And one way that I can say that you can, like, that I've learned to really rise above and to like not let things bother me is because like literally like 99.9% of the time, whoever's saying it is like miserable and is like a loser. I know that sounds whatever, but a lot of the people who have said some of the most fucked up shit about me, I like ended up feeling bad for once I like investigate. I'm like, oh, this person's like a fucking loser. Like, I would be miserable. Like, I would be really like probably unhappy too. So you kind of like got to take a lot of shit with a grain of salt. And that's what my boyfriend always says. He's like, I don't really know how you like handle like people talking shit. And I'm like, well, because I don't put up like information that would like really piss me off. I already said that. I was like, so I don't post my kids. I'm not posting shit where like if someone were to say something, like it would get real ghetto. Like, I'm not doing that. So the shit that like people really can say about me, like make fun of like what I look like, and I'm a whore. I've never been called a whore before. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's not based off of anything. That's not based off of like me. It's really not. So I don't take it personal. He's like, I don't know how you like handle it. I'm like, because a lot of the people saying the most fucked up shit are like losers. Like, real shit. I'm happy with who I am. So, there's really not a whole lot that anyone can say that makes me feel bad about myself. Because I'm loved. Like, real shit, I'm loved. Like, my girlfriend loves me. My best friend loves me. My other best friend of my life loves me. My dad loves me. My mom loves me. My kids love me. My boyfriend fucking loves me. My boyfriend loves me. My kids love me. I'm loved. I'm loved. Like I said, if all this shit were to fall apart, I'm cool. I'm loved in the real world. I'm loved. I'm wanted. I'm cared about. I'm liked. My family likes me. My boyfriend likes me. My kids like me. My parents like me. I'm liked. I have people in the community. I have like less serious relationships. You know, I have like friends that I just see around. I have neighbors and shit. I have people who like and love me. I'm loved, you know? So that's, you know, having relationships matters. And having relationships in the real world matters. You know, that's why community building is so important. Fuck, I gotta go to bed. It's so late. Oh my God, I just realized what time it is. I love you guys. I gotta go. It's hard to stay angry at people who are not doing well in life. Yeah, and especially when you can kind of like trace it back. You're like, oh, all right. I kind of see why they're like super miserable about this one particular thing. You're like, yeah, we'll let it go. Would you like 4 motherless kittens to love you? I have 3 cats, a dog, a fish tank. Every time I have like an emotional breakdown, I get another cat. I would like 4 more cats, but is that a reasonable decision? Unfortunately, probably not. Some other lady, it was so fucked up. This other lady who I always see, I like passed her, she's like, hey, are you still looking for the kittens? I was like, damn, no, we just got one. She's like, oh man. She was like, yeah, because I have like a bunch of like kittens. I was like, you have my number, right? I was like, well, maybe you can just like text me the pictures of the kittens just in case. She was like, okay. And then I like was trying to like, I was like trying to sell it to Cheryl. I was like, Cheryl, I was like, all right, so like, I know that we just got another cat, but she was like, do not get another cat. And I was like, no, just hear me out. I think they're like outdoor cats, and then it could be like a half indoor, half outdoor. She's like, oh my God. She was like, you're gonna get another cat. And I was like, I didn't know. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. She was like, every time I'm like you like go through something, I come home, there's like another fucking cat. I'm like a cat hoarder. No, I'm just kidding. I have 3 cats. Oh, I want to find a cat daddy to raise kittens with. What a wonderful life. If I could like, if I like had to not have kids, I would just have like millions of cats. I would get like, I really want, oh my God, I really want a what's it called? Maine Coon. I want a Maine Coon. Oh my God. The Maine Coons look like that one actor with like the big chin. I gotta go to bed. I don't know why the fuck I'm still here. I love you guys. I gotta go. I promise I'll get back to making like real videos soon. I know I'm just doing like a lot of like bullshit streams, but it's necessary. I have one cat who hates other cats, at least at first. My one cat and my dog are like super tight, and then my other 2 cats are super tight. It's like the 2 girl cats are tight, and then like the 2 boy animals are tight. My dog will like jump all over my cat. My cat's like cool with it. The dog is like insane. He's so hyper. And then he just jumps all over the cat and like rams him and like bulldozes the shit out of him. The cat like doesn't care. He's so chill. Maine Coons are more introvert. They're like huge though. I know, Maine Coons are amazing. Alright, I gotta go. I love you guys. Fuck, I gotta go. No, Dragon. I was supposed to leave like an hour ago. I gotta go. I love you guys. Bye.